Hello, welcome to Annoyed Gamer. I am Marcus Beer, and I am here to bitch and moan on your behalf and my behalf, as I say every week. Beginning of the week, I was like, oh, what topics do I want to do? I mean, it's kind of, And then two wonderful topics just fell into my lap. One of them last night, Wednesday night, yes, and that's the first one I'm going to talk about. Nintendo and Nintendo's decision not to have their traditional press conference at E3. And to that, I'm going to say, well done. The PR hat is on, and I think it's a very smart decision. Now, what's this, Marcus? You're not annoyed at Nintendo for this? You're not criticizing them? No, I think it's a very smart idea. I mean, let's face it, Microsoft and Sony are going to gobble up a huge amount of space in the media with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, whatever it's going to be called. And Nintendo have decided to just focus on the games. Nintendo will be doing stuff at Nokia Theatre at E3, but they said it's more meetings with publishers, with analysts, and with retailers, which is, again, a smart decision because obviously their numbers have come out. The Wii U hasn't hit their projections for the first fiscal year. And then obviously for us on the press side, we get to go into the convention center at E3 and we get to go and play the games because that's what we want to do. Time for talking is over. Nintendo Directs have come and gone and they will continue to come and go. Time for games. What made me laugh was the reaction of the Nintendo fanboys with the comments like, oh, E3 is dead to me now. I'm never going to watch anything at this event. It's horrible. I feel like my life is over. I just sat there and held my sides for fear they would split. More than a few people saying, oh, E3 is now doomed. Nintendo are not holding a press conference. This is the start of the end, and people are going to go off and do their own little Nintendo Direct-esque type things, and nobody's going to want to come to E3, and it's going to be dead, and it's be gone in 2 years. I will categorically say here that the people who are saying that have never, one, worked for a publisher, two, probably never worked for a developer, three, have never walked into the buyer's office of a retail chain. Now, I have worked at a publisher, I've worked at a developer, I have been on trips to sales offices, I've been to these head offices with my VP of sales to talk about our games. These are the people that it makes sense for them to come to the show because they can see everybody in a 3 or 4 day span. And then there is us, the media. It's great for us to go there because we can see a lot of people. We can see a lot of games over the space of 3 or 4 days. We can attend the other press conferences. We can get up to speed and plan out what we're doing. It's also cost efficient for publishers, but still, when you have people coming in from Japan, from Europe, from the UK, from Australia, from all around the US to one central location to come take pictures, to come do interviews, to come play games, that is what the purpose of E3 is for the media. That is priceless. You can't do that with 100 different events where you're lugging all these materials around, you're lugging your dev team around. It's not a common sense use of time, of resources. In fact, it's just stupid. To wrap up, E3 not going anywhere. Nintendo, very smart not to do a press conference. Here's hoping that they say it's all about the games and they have the games there for us to play because we'll all be there and we'll all be looking forward to playing them. And if the games are good, we will love them. If the games are bad, they'll get a shoeing. And finally, anybody who says that the video games industry is heading for a crash, we're about to hit the next generation of consoles. More games are going to come out. They're going to be awesome and we're going to be here talking about them. iPads, be damned. They can't deliver what a PlayStation, an Xbox, or dare I even say it, a Wii U can. End of story. Shut up. Next topic. Star Trek came out this week, and oh boy howdy is it a pile of steaming stank. Before I get to the abysmal, I'll tell you the one good thing it's got going for it. It's got a good story. If you like Star Trek and you like the first movie and you're looking forward to Into Darkness, there's actually a cool little nugget of a story in there. And the voice acting is pretty top-notch. They have Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, who is absolutely brilliant in anything he does, Zoe Saldana. I mean, they have all these amazing actors from the series who are reprising their parts and, not just phoning it in. It's pretty good with, those people. Unfortunately, the gameplay is dull, pedestrian, would have looked old school in not a good way in 2004. The graphics are a joke, to be honest with you. Collision detection is practically non-existent, or when it does exist, collision detection exists in a way of Magic 8-Ball time. If I attach to this thing to climb across this water that is electrified, will I die? What do you think, Magic 8-Ball? I'm an 8-ball, I don't fucking know. And seriously, it's a lottery. It is a lottery. There are certain areas where you are perfectly lined up and you literally jump. The character's arms will go just straight through whatever you're trying to grab. It's ridiculous and it just sucks any A little bit of enjoyment, way away. Sucks is a really great word for this game. So as part of a public service announcement, I'm going to say this right now. The game is fucking horrible, and do not buy this game. Even if you are the biggest Star Trek fan in the universe, you're going to be mightily disappointed. Unless, of course, you maybe have no expectations of video games. Maybe you're on medication. Maybe you've had an accident. The game obviously came out day one, last Tuesday, and nobody got review code. That's always a bad sign. And, you know, let's face it, we're all savvy enough now to realize that if there are no reviews before launch, something sniffy is going on. But you know what cracked me up? The Metacritic user scores in particular, an average of 9.6 from 4 different people. Now, I am not going to cast aspersion. Oh, yes, I am. Namco Bandai, who the fuck did you pay to do that? Whether it be a communications company behind it, I'm not saying it's the PR agency that I dealt with, because those guys are actually really quite solid and honest, and I've got nothing but respect for them. And Metacritic, you should look to lock down stuff. User reviews are totally arbitrary, and they are nothing but excuses for fanboys and shills from shady marketing companies. Metacritic, stay with the professionals. Stick with those guys. Those guys know what they're doing, and 98% of them are beyond reproach. No offense to the users out there. Most of you are good, honest people who actually give a shit about games. Unfortunately, you get besmirched and hammered by these fanboys and the people who take advantage of the systems. We don't need to have these user reviews. People have their own blogs, they have their own Twitter, you know, go off and do whatever you want. I'm not going to quote Metacritic scores anymore. Fuck them, I'm going to put them on a block list. I'm not even going to go to that site anymore. Same with Rotten Tomatoes, they can piss off too. I really don't give a shit. I'm actually going to go to reviewers that I actually trust. We're the only industry in the world where we have something like this that's in place that can actually justify if somebody who's put in 100 hours a week on crunch or more gets a bonus or not. It doesn't matter if the game sells. You know who makes the money? The publishers. So here we go. I'm going to put out a call. Again, this is where you guys can vote with your clicks. Don't go to Metacritic. Or if you want to go to Metacritic, start campaigning against them to say, sort your shit out. Make things more transparent. Stop becoming the fucking Yelp of video games. I mean, the fucking Yelpers, the majority of them are opinionated, self-absorbed little assholes who bitch and moan when they don't get preferential treatment at a restaurant and will turn around and give something a 1 star. Oh shit, hang on. Whiny, preferential treatment wanting, entitled. Oh, gaming fanboys. I know people are going to come back at me and I don't give a shit. I've sat on the side where I've looked at Metacritic ratings go up and down, and I've seen the looks on people's faces when I knew they weren't going to get bonuses, and I had to be part of the team that, you know, basically went out and said you didn't get high enough stuff, and watch dev teams be upset because they busted their ass and they know a game sold. To wrap up, Metacritic, you are shit. The parent company of Metacritic is CBS Interactive. That's the same CBS Interactive that's actually been pulling reviews from CNET and various other companies because they're in a lawsuit with somebody and they're basically interfering with editorial. I'm not casting aspersions on the other CNET sites such as Giant Bomb and GameSpot because I know the guys there actually work their damnedest to make sure they are editorially unaffected. But CBS Interactive, Metacritic is a joke. People who run at Metacritic, tighten your fucking act up. Stop screwing with other people's livelihoods. Sick and tired of it. The site needs to go, period. Okay, time for a new segment. It's called Beer Bites Back, and it's me basically talking about some of the comments on the forums from the last episode. And obviously, I want to thank everybody for contributing to the last episode, not only in the comments, but the questions. It was one of the better received episodes, and we will be doing it again. And also, thanks to everybody who joined me on the GameTrailers comment section for the impromptu Q&A at 8 a.m. Pacific time last Saturday. I had a bunch of fun answering your questions. Don't think it's going to happen every week. I was up to watch the footy, and I missed it to hang out with you guys, because you rock. But anyway, onto the comments. And 2 jumped out at me. First one was reaction to the BioShock Infinite religious gamer where he wanted his refund. I stand by what I said. To those of you who think I was attacking religion, I wasn't. The issue I had was this guy put his religious beliefs out there as a way to object to one aspect of a fictional game that was really quite benign and inane, and a lot of people didn't have any issue with. So those of you attacking religion on that comment section, shut the fuck up. There's a lot of good Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, etc. out there. They do good stuff. Leave them the fuck alone. I wasn't picking on religion. I was picking on one nutty asshole. Next up, the section where I was talking about, you know, why video game companies don't listen to people. I basically went on this long diatribe saying that, you know, people turn up from other companies and they've got their degrees. Somebody decided to get all offended by that. I got no problem with education. Education is a great thing. I think everybody should have an education. The point I am saying is that you can have a degree, and that's great, but your degree, unfortunately, only gets you so far. If you don't have a passion passion and a knowledge for whatever career you are in, you're never going to be doing the job to the best of your ability. If you don't give a shit about games, you're not contributing to the games industry. You're just there to boast about the fact that, yes, I was associated with Call of Duty, Modern Masturbation Part 6, and here's my card, and I'm wonderful, and play video games, what? No, don't do that. Yeah, go fuck yourselves. You're a blight on the industry, piss off. And again, to the person who got all wound up about it, if you're going to go off and misconstrue stuff, don't even watch the show. Don't bother commenting, get away, not interested, because I saw a bunch of people defending what I said. They obviously got it. Maybe you need a degree in understanding the English language or understanding the bigger picture, because you, sir, are very lacking. And that's it for this show. Obviously, it's a little more mellow after last week with lots of other things going on and the questions. Questions will be back. I really had a good time with that. Thanks for watching. I'll be back next week. Later.
See all of our shows and game reviews now on the brand new GT app on Xbox Live and the GT Originals iOS app too.